everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we have my February book haul. So one thing I will say is we are starting off with not as many books hauled as in January. Perfect. Great, amazing. We are also starting off with not as many books hauled as by February, the end of February last year. We are ahead of schedule, which is great. I'm trying not to go out and buy too many things right now. So I actually only have 5 physical books to talk about today. We do have some ebooks, we will talk about those as well. But I did want to show you that I have been doing a shelf reduction tab in my spreadsheet. I definitely stole this from Laura's loaning library for like the base part of it. But I don't think when I looked last time she had updated anything for 2026. So I put in basically what I wanted to track into my spreadsheet. And so I'm going to bring it right up here so you guys can see really quick before we dive into the books. And I think I'm going to try and show you every single month. So this is my 2026 shelf reduction. We started off with my TBR on January 1st at 588. That is my physical TBR. That is all we're tracking for the shelf reduction part. Because the ebooks that I buy are usually like free or $1 or something like that. So in January, I did add all my stuff in here, but I didn't actually show you guys because I did it late, and then I was like, I should have done that. So I did read 6 books in January that were off of my TBR. I read more than that, but like 6 that were off the TBR. I ended up adding 16 physical books. I unhauled 0. I haven't done an unhaul yet this year, but I definitely think I probably need to. But even when I unhaul things, unless it's coming off of my physical TBR, the unhaul number will still be 0. My new total at the end of January for hauled books was 598, which means there was a 10 book difference from my January 1st total to the end of January. But then we dove into February. I read 6 books off my TBR in February. That is a little different than my wrap up because I actually am in the middle of books, but I pulled them off of the TBR already, so I did update that number. So 6 books read or reading in February. I added 5 that we will talk about, unhauled 0. So my new total was 597. Now I only had difference as 1 column originally, but when I put in my numbers for February, I realized I went down by 1 month to month. And I wanted to have that -1 on there because it looks amazing. However, my actual difference for the year, I'm still up by 9. So I added another category. So we have difference for the month and difference for the year. And I'm just hoping to see what my total will be at the end of the year. And I'm really hoping it's under 588. I don't have any other goal besides that right now. But yes, I did include a shelf reduction tab now, and I'm just very excited for it. So without any further ado, because we don't really have any other stats that I talk about here, they are all in the wrap up, let's get into the physical books that I bought in February. The first ones that we're going to be talking about, I did do an unboxing video. These are for the February Allurial, and I have 2 books. The first one that we have here is Half City by Kate Golden, and this is the updated cover because the original one that I got had all of the like embossing slickness, like the glossiness, that's what it should be, off. Like it was over and down at an angle. Like it was just, it looked really bad. So the customer service from Allurial was amazing, and they shipped this out as soon as they told their like product reviewer people about it. So hopefully nobody else will have that issue, especially in later months. I don't know if anybody else had it this month or not, but we have Half City. And again, I did do an unboxing on this, so like it is very special and pretty. But it's from Allurial, which is like the fantasy romance, romantasy subscription from Book of the Month. And this I was intrigued by because it is going to be like some sort of like normal city, and then there's like an underbelly type of situation. Like our main character is realizing that she has to go to this special demon hunting school sort of thing. I'm pretty sure I remember people when I first heard about this saying it's in the vein of Buffy the Vampire Slayer a little bit, which I absolutely love. So I definitely had to pick it up. And then the other one that I picked up in the same box is Heart's Gambit by J.D. Mayall. So this one, I'm pretty sure on Goodreads and things like that, is listed as young adult. So I'm going to assume not very spicy. Allurial does have 1, 2, or 3 peppers on their website when they announce these books and things like that. And I can't remember, it probably was the one, I don't remember what Half City was either. But this is gonna be like generational curse type of situation. There is some sort of like circus aspect, I'm pretty sure, or maybe carnival. I'm very intrigued. There is some sort of like curse on the families. Like way back in the day, two enslaved teens fell in love with each other, one from each side of the family, and their owner is a witch and has cursed the families, and once a generation or something like that, they actually have to fight to the death. There's gonna be love and romance and things in here. Anyway, I need to read it, yeah. Let's now move on to the pre-order that I had for February. I think it's the only one that I had for February, and it's gonna be It's All in Your Head by Sabina Norquist. So this is gonna be a romance that I was super excited for because it is gonna be dealing with chronic illnesses and things like that. I mean, I think we can sort of tell. We have like pills, and I think he has like a cane on here. And it says, Skylar is done with offline relationships, especially romantic ones. Living with chronic illness means she's heard it all before. Unreliable, high maintenance, too much. She'd rather spend her free time in her online support group, and lately she can't help but notice Pike, the hot new guy with a penchant for broody poetry. When a chaotic night in the group forces her to pose as his girlfriend, she reluctantly agrees to keep the charade up in real life. So there's gonna be fake dating, but it also turns out that Pike is actually a professional snowboarder who had an injury. I, again, really need to get into this. Pretty sure this is going to be own voices as well because the author also has a chronic illness. They don't specify what the chronic illness is on the summary, so I'm not entirely sure if it's like exact own voices or not, but I'm very excited to jump into this one. Then the next book that I picked up, I actually picked up while I was at a silent book club at my Barnes & Noble. The silent book club does not always meet at the Barnes & Noble. They actually usually meet like Thursday nights at like bars and lounges and things, and that is not my vibe, and the time is usually when I'm trying to put kids to bed. But they did have a bonus meeting on like a Saturday or Sunday at the Barnes & Noble in the middle of the afternoon, so I was there, and while I was there I picked up a drink at the cafe, and the cafe had a new book for $5. Like, you buy a drink or something at the cafe, you get the book for $5 instead of, what is this normal price? 18. So I did pick it up. I have been intrigued by this one. I've never picked it up, but it is something that I've had on my radar a little bit. It's called This Will Be Fun by E.B. Asher. And it says, former friends, former flames, a mayhem-spiked quest, what could go wrong? Everyone in Mithria knows the story of how best friends Beatrice and Elwyn, handsome ex-bandit Claire, and valiant leader Galwell the Great defended the realm from darkness. It's a tale beloved by all except the heroes. They haven't spoken in a decade, devastated by what their quest cost them. But when they all receive an invitation to the Queen of Mithria's wedding, it's a summons they can't refuse, and a reunion for the ages. With Claire secretly not over his long-ago fling with Beatrice fighting the guilt she feels over how everything ended, Elwyn unprepared for the return of her ex-love, the cunning Vandra, and all of them lost without Galwell. And if reuniting with former friends and lovers wasn't perilous enough, dark forces from their past have also returned. I want to say, I first thought this was like a cozy fantasy. It feels like maybe it's not going to be 100% cozy, but at the same time, I'm living for the interpersonal drama sort of stuff. So yes. And then the last one that I have here is actually a book that I won in a Goodreads giveaway. So far, I think I won one book last year and I won this one this year. That's probably all I'm going to get, but I do have a physical ARC for a book that's going to be coming out on May 5th, and I will be reading it before that date. But I have Homebound by Portia Alon. I sort of love this cover. It's gorgeous. And there's not a ton on the back, but I will read it to you. Cincinnati, 1983. You are sitting at a computer. It has been 78 days since your uncle died. That's a terrible way to start a game, but this isn't a game, is it? Because what you are coding will outlast you by centuries and shape the lives of a scientist, an astronaut, a sentient automaton, and a desperate sea captain in ways you cannot imagine. This is going to be some sort of sci-fi sort of thing. And that was the reason I requested it, entered the Goodreads giveaway, and I won. So I'm very excited to have my hands on this. I can't wait to read it. So those are all of the physical books that I bought, all the books that are going on to like my physical TBR, going on that chart that I showed you. I did mention that I didn't have any more stats that we should talk about. That's not true. I just realized as I was gonna go into my ebook section, I do have my percentage read of books that I have bought because we're trying to keep that high. I had a goal last year of like 50% and I got to like 20 something, which was not horrible in the fact that like halfway through the year I was like at 13%. Right now, I have a total of 21 books hauled, physical books, 5 from this month, 16 from last month, and I have read 4. Those are 4 that I read back in January. So right now I'm sitting at a total of 19% read. So I need to start getting on top of that again, reading books that I have purchased. But I just wanted to mention that because I have my ebooks on a separate tab this time in my spreadsheet. Last year I had them all together, and it's because I wanted to easily see my percentage of books read versus unread for the physical books specifically. So moving now into my February ebooks, I do actually have 8 ebooks here to talk about, which is a little bit more ebooks than last month. So let's jump into that. All of the books that I have for ebooks this month are from FaRoSoc, which is Fantasy Romance Society, used to be called Fantasy Romance February. At the beginning of the month, they had a sale on fantasy books, and that's because February, again, it used to be Fantasy Romance February, so they still have like their big event during the month of February. They had a bunch of fantasy romance books that were on sale for 99 cents each, and I did pick up, I think, 6 of them. And then during the month as well, they had a like 14 days of fantasy romance. So starting on February 14th, I think it was, going through like the 28th, there was a free book that you could get every day. And I only got 3 of those ones, and I think it's just because there was a lot more of the like super spicy ones, or there was a lot of prequels / short stories that I'm not 100% like, those aren't the ones that I would gravitate towards. Like if it was the first book in a series, maybe I would have picked it up. But so every single ebook that I have today is because of Fantasy Romance Society. So the first one that I have is Wicked Sea and Sky by Jenna Collette. She's a treasure hunter bound by dark magic. He's the thief who shattered her trust, and now he's her only shot at survival. Betrayed during a treasure hunt and sentenced to a watery prison, Marin has spent the last few years trapped beneath the waves. Now she's back on land with 3 weeks to break her curse or die trying. Her only hope lies in a mystical artifact lost to the Sky Realm and in the hands of the charming thief she vowed never to forgive. Gavin was the only man she ever let close. This time she wants revenge. He swears he never betrayed her and only wants to help. But every stolen glance and lingering touch feels like another trap. With time running out, they'll have to hunt together one last time. Through crumbling ruins, sky mazes, and battles with deadly creatures, their search will test more than just their skills. But as their partnership heats up and secrets unravel, Marin must face the truth. The man who broke her heart might be the one fighting to keep it. It does say it's going to be filled with thrilling adventures, enemies to lovers tension, and a love worth fighting for. I had to pick it up. It was 99 cents. The next one I picked up for 99 cents was Courting the Swan Prince by Michelle Moras. Cozy romantasy meets a reverse Swan Lake retelling. Odette lives a quiet life in the elven autumn kingdom, running her magical tea shop alongside her hedgehog familiar Basil. But her cozy existence is disrupted when the autumn princes return from the royal college to compete in trials to determine who will become king. I love a trials thing. I had to pick it up. Her loyalty becomes torn between her first love, Siegfried, and her newfound courtship with his twin brother, Odin. But both princes are harboring secrets that leave Odette unsure of who she can trust. Determined to uncover what they are hiding, Odette must overcome doubts of her magical abilities before the trials begin. If she fails, a curse threatens to destroy them all. The next one that I picked up for 99 cents is No Planning for Love by Katie Haypenny. This is going to be a monster romance, and I don't 100% know if I like them. I've tried a couple, but I feel like it was like a specific kind, and we have to try this out. I just need to see, especially since this author actually has like bullet points of like things you can find in this book. Main characters in their 30s, slow burn romance, he falls first, sweet cinnamon roll male main character, sweet and spicy fish out of water, found family, mid-sized female main character, dual points of view, hidden magical small town with witches and monsters, and a guaranteed happily ever after. It is going to be spicy, but I'm curious with that slow burn romance, like are we going to get that build up that I really, really want? But yes, okay, welcome to Monstera Bluff, a quaint coastal small town with a monstrously big secret. After Kara Bishop's terrible year of heartache and upheaval, she finally lands her dream job as a city planner in a place that just so happens to be inhabited by monsters and witches she never knew existed. Go figured they'd grapple with the same urban planning issues as everyone else. As the shock of their existence wears off, she's determined to land on her feet once and for all in this unusual yet charming place that feels so far away from everything she's trying to escape. Except a brooding gargoyle named Ben, who is frustratingly unavoidable both at work and outside of it, as well as some odious local power brokers seem quite unhappy with her sudden appearance in their hidden magical town. So, never read one with a gargoyle. I'm very curious about the whole like small town issues situation, but also the paranormal magic fantasy stuff. The next one I picked up is Water Witch by C.D. Gorey. Curses suck, but it's just another day at Westwood Academy. Rio has known her whole life that she was different. The women in her family have been plagued by a deadly curse, and she's next. There is only one place she can go to learn to control the magic that just might save her. Will she be able to make a place for herself in this strange world where witches and wizards and other supernaturals live under the rule of the omnipotent Council of Covens? So this is going to be a college age like academy, which I definitely prefer. I'm not really into the high school setting anymore, but I was very curious, so I did pick that one up as well. And then the last one I got for 99 cents is Ghosts of the Catacombs by Jana Ruth. Hi, I'm Alex. During the day, I'm a history student at the time-honored Sorbonne University. After class, I hang out with the ghosts of the revolution, the many undead misunderstood Parisian artists, and adventurous scientists that glow in the dark. None of them are alive, but they come to me to solve their problems with the living. When a recently deceased catacomb tour guide asks me to retrieve a mysterious personal item from the underground, things take a turn for the weird. Suddenly, I find myself in a city of ghosts, haunted by murderous cave crawlers, and stumbling across haunting secrets. If I'm not careful now, I might end up a ghost myself. I'm not the biggest fan of the first-person point of view summaries, but I love the idea of a ghost whisperer. It does say urban fantasy with a French twist for people that like cave crawling adventures, hopeless romantics, and ghosts. Like I'm again very curious, and for 99 cents, I will forgive the summary. Okay, so now we're actually moving on to the 3 books that I picked up for free during the 14 days of fantasy romance. The first one is To Hunt a Ruby Remedy by Jen Linning. This one is actually a novella, where the sequel, the first book in the series, technically is Deceiving the Cursed Beast, which I apparently do have on my Kindle already, probably from something very similar to this. So even though this is a prequel, and I don't usually pick up the prequels, because I had book 1, and I would probably start with book 1, I now have the prequel in case I really want it. This one says it's going to be a Little Red Riding Hood retelling with a grumpy dragon shifter, steamy romance, and a happily ever after. Because it's a prequel, it's probably like this is a whole little story by itself, and then like we jump into the rest of everything else. I believe these ones are going to be a little bit more Regency in a way. I could be mistaken, but it does say the man who opened his cottage door is hiding more than big teeth. Not even a journey to the Dracona Forest will stop Scarlet from getting the magical cure her mother needs. But when the door to the healer's cottage opens, she doesn't find the grandmother she expected. The man on the other side is scowling, curt, and smoking hot. He also wants Scarlet gone now. Yeah, so, again, I don't know exactly how much we're gonna get in here because, again, I don't always read the prequels, but it definitely does feel like potentially like a really good standalone Red Riding Hood retelling. Then I also picked up The Savior's Champion by Jenna Morrissey. So this is going to be book 1 in a series. Tobias Kaya doesn't care about the Savior. He doesn't care that she's the ruler of the realm or that she purified the land, and he certainly doesn't care that she's of age to be married. But when competing for her hand proves to be his last chance to save his family, he's forced to make the Savior his priority. Now Tobias is thrown into the Sovereign's tournament with 19 other men, and each of them is fighting and killing for the chance to rule at the Savior's side. Instantly, his world is plagued with violence, treachery, and manipulation, revealing the hidden ugliness of his proud realm. And when his circumstances seem especially dire, he stumbles into an unexpected romance, one that opens him up to unimaginable dangers and darkness. Again, deadly trials. I was sold. And then the last one that I picked up in the month of February is This Is Not Love at First Sight by T. Harlow. I love the sort of stained glass cover. When 2 rival chefs with a royal feast to prepare get snowed in, it's not just the oven that's heating up. Hating Liam Wolvern is in Elwyn's blood. Their families have been rivals for centuries, each generation vying for the job of castle chef. It doesn't help that Liam won the coveted role and now cooks for the High Prince while Elwyn is stuck cooking at her family's failing tavern. Elwyn's ready to prove herself when she's invited to prepare the upcoming winter solstice feast at the castle. Yes, it means working with Liam, but it's also her chance to shine. Unfortunately, Ellamon's plans are thrown out the window when a storm hits and she's snowed in with Liam. Now they not only have to make this feast, but they have to do it in a mischievous, sentient kitchen with plans of its own. Worse, once they stop fighting long enough to cook, Elwyn realizes they might be a great team and that maybe she got Liam all wrong. But as tensions build and things start to heat up, she has to wonder what happens when the snow melts. So this definitely feels a little bit more like cozy fantasy in a way. Yeah. And so, like I said, that is going to be everything. Again, a few more ebooks than physical books this time. But like I said earlier, I am going to blame Fantasy Romance Society for all of that. But that is going to be it for me today. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so I will see you then. Bye!